Hello, this is Trey Ratcliff, and welcome to my special video review of the Phantom 4 from DJI. This is probably all I have to do, just show this one scene. Look, you've already decided. It's only been 10 seconds. You know you decided you love it as much as I do. I shot this on the South Island of New Zealand, down where I live. Man, I love this machine. Let me tell you all about it. So, you'll see a compilation of different videos that we've been shooting. I was on a wolf there. That's my daughter, Scarlett. So I have been flying DJI products for the last 3 years or something, all the way back from the 1, and now I've graduated all the way to the 4. Okay, let me jump right ahead and say why the 4 is the best. Well, look, it's got this object avoidance system. See those little 2 dots there on the right and left? That's always kind of figuring out what's in front of it, so it'll keep it from crashing into things, which I have done on occasion with the previous Phantoms. And yeah, maybe it's a little bit more expensive, but I promise you there's a very high chance that you might crash the Phantom 3 or a lesser Phantom, and then you're gonna have to buy another one. So you end up saving money just buying the good one. It's incredible, right? This thing, it's so fun and easy to fly. I guess that's the other big surprise that most people encounter when I hand over the controls. They're like, don't hand me that, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, yeah, you do. It's incredibly simple. You know, if you ever feel like you're losing control or whatever, what you do is you just let go. Just let go. Let go my ego. And it will hover there. It'll stay totally steady. It's using multiple satellites to kind of triangulate its position. It has other techniques it uses for staying steady. Even in a crosswind, what will happen is it will fight against the crosswind to stay totally steady. All right. This is me flying it out at the hills in Arrowtown. And you can see how smooth the turns are. You can do it over and over and over again until you get the shot you want. This battery lasts about 25 minutes or so, which I find is plenty of time to get the shots that you want, right? And not that it's a high stress thing, but after about 25 minutes of flying it, you're like, okay, I've had enough. I'm gonna go do something else. Not that you don't enjoy it, but like, you know, you kind of get every shot within this, 1 kilometer hemisphere that you can fly all around you, right? Let me talk more about the gimbal. By the way, we shot this scene with a Ronin, which is another thing that's made by DJI. It's got a gimbal underneath that's all integrated into the system now, and everything stays rock steady, even at very high speeds. It's impressive how steady and smooth the camera is, isn't it? I'm sure you've seen these scenes. I have not done any further stabilization afterwards. It just comes out super smooth like this. Now, I don't just use it for videos. I also use it for photos. In fact, I say most of the time I use it for photos because I'm really more of a photographer. Well, you could do HDR, right? In that scene, right, you can see how it's fighting the wind, right? It's not staying totally steady, but it's gusting and moving around. It's trying to stay steady. Anyway, this is a kind of an extreme wind condition. And when I take like auto bracketed photos, for example, you can take raw photos, 14 megapixels. But when I do auto bracketed photos, I take 5 from -2 to +2, and then I can line them up very easily later when I use Aurora HDR to play with them. Yeah, it's just, it's a fantastic machine. I never get tired of using it. Usually my technique, by the way, what I do is I start recording a video, and then I take off and I watch my screen, right? Sending back live video to your iPad or your phone or whatever. And I get it in a position where I want to take a photo, and then I stop recording, and then I simply take my photos and I start recording again. You can see how easy it is to land. There's even an auto land button you can just click on and it'll auto land itself. And you should always have like a spotter, right? Don't ever lose visual sight of it. It can become a little, addicting just to stare at the screen. But if you don't watch out before you know it, you have no idea where your quadcopter is. There is a return to home button that's pretty cool, right, on the remote control. And you just hold that down and it'll go up quite a ways to like get over trees and stuff, and then it will fly back home and land itself. It's amazing. It's just incredible technology. That will also automatically happen if it feels like it doesn't have enough battery to get back home. It will just take over. It'll come back home and land itself. Okay. There's a few other advanced things you can do, like you can turn that off. Like sometimes you might be in a situation where you're moving and you want it to land in a different position from where it took off. Like this happened to us one time in Vietnam. We were on a boat We launched it from one place, and the boat went about 2 kilometers, and the quad was with us the whole time. And then it ran out of batteries, and it decided to go back to its original spot. So we're like, oh, we can't have that. So there's a little switch you can flip over and take over control of it again, and then bring it back to where you happen to be at the time. Let's talk about some of the other specs for those of you that are into specs. Okay, it weighs about 1,400 grams. The fastest it can go up is 6 meters a second, go down at 4 meters a second. Maximum speed in sport mode is 20 meters per second. All right. Let's talk more about the camera. Okay, what exactly is going on? Well, it's got an FOV, field of view, of 94 degrees, which is about a 20 millimeter lens. If you're used to shooting a full frame camera, it's like a 35 millimeter format equivalent. It shoots at f2.8. All right. As far as video goes, the ISO goes from 100 to 3200. For photos, it only goes to ISO 1600. All right. The shutter speed could go 1/8,000th of a second or as slow as 8 seconds. And sometimes you can actually stay steady for that long. It has to be a kind of a still night, but kind of cool, the idea of getting up there and taking an 8-second exposure at night. By the way, that's another way to catch it, right? You can just land it by yourself in one hand, and you hold down the left stick, and that one will slow it down. All right. The image size is 4,000 pixels by 3,000 pixels. It does all kinds of different modes. It does single shot, do burst in 3, 5, or 7. It'll do auto exposure from 3 or 5 brackets. It jumps at a 0.7 EV bias. You could do time lapse. You could do in-camera HDR. I don't do much of that because it's sort of a JPEG, right? I like to have the raw files back home. The video recording modes have been upgraded a little bit for this one, for this model. It does ultra high definition, 4K at 24 or 25p. What you're seeing right now here, by the way, this is something cool and new you can do on Facebook Live. Is you can fly from your quad just like normal, and you can stream it to Facebook, which is incredibly cool. So you can take people around the world with you, or wherever you happen to be. We've been doing this all over the place. We have a new Facebook Live show, and one of the greatest things about it is that while I'm flying and looking at my screen, I can see live comments come up, so you can ask me questions. Like, this is a beta version, obviously. We've been beta testing it with them for about a month. Here you can see there is someone named Tara Zhang, which is a Chinese name, speaking perfect fluent Latin, which you would not expect. Total surprise, right? Anyway, I'm taking off of the hood of my car here. And you can see all those little red things up there on top? That's the proximity sensor saying, hey, there's something in front of me, but I know what it is. It's the hood of a car. And I just take right off over my head, fly and go visit my sheep. And so you can see some of the stuff that's on the screen here. Look at all this. It's showing you the speed down in the lower left, the ascent, vectors, all that kind of stuff. At the top, you can see how much battery is left, right? You can see that the ISO settings are everything. That's the low battery warning on my iPad, of all things. I'm shooting this at 4K, 30 frames per second. It looks like the battery has about 13 minutes left here, 37 seconds. A nice smooth pan. So I just kind of fly around my neighborhood here a little bit and then fly back home just to show what it's like to do a live video. You see the battery is up there at the top right. It's at 60%. Dropping. It's got different colors up there too. You see red, yellow. See that yellow thing with a little H on it, saying that's the point when we'll choose to come home. Over on the right, you can see that I just started recording a video. You can see the video is recording there. You can open that up and see all the different details. Over on the left, you see you can tell it to land right now, or you can tell it to go back home, fly back home. Got a really fun thing. One thing you can't see here is the map. There's a map too. It's recording exactly where it is with GPS and everything, so you can check out the map as well. All right. Let's get back to talking about the other video modes it can do. It could do the other kind of. There's two kinds of 4K. There's 4,096 pixels across, and then there's 3840 across. If you do that version, you can do up to 24, 25, or 30 frames per second. At 1920 by 1080, 1080p, that does all the way up to 50, 60, or 120 frames per second, which is pretty cool. Max video bitrate is 60 megabits per second. Like I said, it takes raw photos, video, it does MP4 or movie files, all records on a micro SD card that's right there on the screen. Okay. What you're seeing here, by the way, is this is showing a little bit more about how Facebook Live is working. We use this tool a lot. This is what our show is based on, and we have a lot of quadcopter people that watch, always asking quadcopter questions. It's really fun. That's Ruby there helping me take questions from the crowd. She kind of copy and paste them into a little spreadsheet so I can try to get to everyone's questions. And it's fun to be kind of, interactive, and because people really want to know these things. So right there you're seeing how that thing telescopes up and down. That's the controller, of course, to fit pretty much any kind of phone. It doesn't fit a iPad Pro, of course, but sometimes when I use that, I have a friend hold the iPad while I kind of look over the shoulder while I'm flying it. But it basically fits any kind of iPhone or Android or whatever, and it's getting better and better all the time. Now, one of the other most common questions I get is, where can you fly it? Where is it okay? Where is it not okay to fly it? I'm a good boy, I follow the rules. Some places there were really no rules, like in China, where this was one of the only ones there, and I did get arrested in China, I'll admit it. I spent some time incarcerated, had to do some fast talking to get myself out of China, but that was sort of a special situation. Anyway, DJI has a website, right, where you can go check and see, like, where is a good place to fly and where is not a good place to fly. So it's pretty clear. It's fun to go out to fly with a friend, too. If you have a friend that has a DJI, you can go out and kind of record each. It's super geeky, right? But look at this. It's super fun, like, to kind of chase around your friend's quad and take photos of it. You don't want to crash it, because then you're going to lose two quads at once. But it is a really fun little thing, for sure. And here is one of the other funniest things you can do with it. I don't know, funny isn't the right word, but we probably had more fun with this than you should. But you can have it track people and chase them. So we took Ruby and we drew a little box around her, and then we told the quadcopter, that's what my daughter calls it, to chase her. And so we did a little Hunger Games action where we had her run around my yard, and it would chase her. And she might appear to be terrified, but she was actually terrified. It was really funny because we had these really nice guys over building a tennis court, and they were staring at us like wondering, what in the hell are these guys doing chasing this blonde girl with a quadcopter? And then we had her hide behind the trampoline, and then it lost her. Here now it's chasing my son and my daughter. This is our new party game trick. We have people come over. Now watch how smooth this circle strafe is, by the way. There's not exactly a circle strafe option, right? But it will track me, and then Curtis here is just kind of holding to the right, and it's circling around me very smoothly. I know other quadcopters seem to have this circle strafe kind of option. This is a little bit manual in that you have to first tell it to track me, right? And then you just kind of hold the stick a little bit to the right, and it just spins around really smoothly. It took us a while to figure that out. I don't know if that's in the manual or whatever. I don't know if that's sort of a hack. Maybe later on they'll have something else. Okay. The other thing to get your head around for me, and I'm still having trouble getting my head around this idea, that you can actually take photos from almost anywhere, right? Forever, photographers have been tethered to where their camera and lens happens to be, which, looking back, is a completely arbitrary location, right beside the head, right? But now the camera doesn't have to be there anymore. The camera can be literally anywhere. And I think that is incredibly exciting. Okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you with this little video I made, or at least the beginning of a video that I made. Okay? This is something that I've done over the past 4 years. I've been collecting quadcopter footage from all around the world. And I was wondering, well, what the heck do I do with all this? And I decided to combine it with two of my other favorite things, which are the music of Hans Zimmer and the words of one of my favorite philosophers, Alan Watts. So I will bid you adieu. You can start watching this thing, and this little preview of it, and I've got the full thing on Facebook and YouTube, and you're welcome to watch me do it there too. Oh, here's one other thing. I had it chase me one time. Here's one thing it doesn't do when it chases, is it won't adjust for height. You can see I ran up a hill there, and it just kind of stopped dead. The motion sensor sensed that it was about to hit the ground, and it stopped automatically. This is one where I was recording at 120 frames per second. This is in 1080p. It makes me look like much more epic running than is the real case, but you can see how the slow motion works. I mean, I could talk about this thing on and on and on. You're probably getting sick of me yapping on about it. Anyway, here's my favorite little artistic video. I hope you enjoy.
Tonight, at any rate, we've got to go through some theoretical material, so we're on a head trip. I don't know where the trip will end up. It depends on you. But in order to lay the foundation for this, we've got to examine ideas that are basic to our common sense. We'll begin with one very common idea that's built into our common sense, which is that the world, the physical world, consists of two aspects, respectively form and matter. What are we made of? Now look here, a carpenter makes tables out of wood, and a potter makes pots out of clay. But I ask you, is a tree made of wood? Obviously not. A tree is wood. It's not made of it. Is a mountain made of rock? Obviously not. It is rock. See, our language contains innumerable ghosts. It is raining. What is this it that is raining? The raining. So we populate the world with ghosts.